Hello and welcome to ACE the English Hub. Welcome to our series of essays on linguistics and phonetics. This is our second video in the series. We have already seen that linguistics covers 5 major areas. And last week we dealt with phonology, and this week we are going to discuss a few terms associated with morphology. Do check out our video on phonology if you haven't yet. This video series is helpful for your HSA examination and your degree or PG classes, and even for your UGC NET exams. Subscribe to our channel to receive updates on new videos. Let's move on to today's video. While phonology is the study of sounds, morphology is the study of words. Morphemes are the minimal units of words that have a meaning and they cannot be subdivided further. For example, take the word disagreement. It consists of 3 units of meaning, or we can say 3 morphemes. The morpheme agree is the most important unit here, which means to have the same opinion about something. The morpheme dis conveys the meaning of negation. Somebody does not have the same opinion. The morpheme ment tells you that the word is a noun. Now let's look at the classifications of morphemes. Words can have 2 types of morphemes: lexical morphemes and grammatical morphemes. Words that have meaning by themselves are called lexical morphemes. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs are all lexical morphemes. They are also called open class words. New words are regularly added to this group. Now, those words that function to specify the relationship between one lexical morpheme and another are called grammatical morphemes. Prepositions, articles, conjunctions, plural and tense affixes, they are all grammatical morphemes. Adding the article the to the lexical morpheme girl will tell you about a specific girl. Girl and boy. Here, the conjunction and is specifying the relationship between the 2 lexical morphemes. Girl in the park will tell you where the girl is. Walked will tell you that the verb walk is something that was done in the past. Girls will tell you that there are 2 or more girls. Grammatical morphemes are sometimes referred to as function words. New words are very rarely added to this group. Another classification of morphemes is as free and bound morphemes. Morphemes that can stand alone to function as words are called free morphemes. Free morphemes can be lexical morphemes like nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs that can stand alone to convey meaning, and they can also be grammatical morphemes like articles, pronouns, conjunctions that are examples of free grammatical morphemes. Since they are realized as freely occurring forms, they are not attached to another morpheme, only other lexical morphemes that come close to them. They are not as such attached to an other morpheme. Whereas morphemes are not realized as free occurring forms, but as modifications on other free occurring forms, are bound morphemes in English. They cannot stand alone. So we can say that morphemes that can only be attached to another part of a word and cannot stand alone are called bound morphemes. They can occur only in combination. They are parts of a word. Bound morphemes can be bound lexical morphemes or bound grammatical morphemes. They are often affixes. Now, what are affixes? We'll come to that in a while. Bound grammatical morphemes modify the meanings of the lexical morphemes to which they are joined in fixed and regular ways. Bound lexical morphemes, on the other hand, modify the meanings of the lexical morphemes with which they are combined in different ways. The difference is that while the effects on meaning of the bound grammatical morphemes are predictable, those of bound lexical morphemes are not. For example, when you add the bound grammatical morpheme s to a noun, we always get the plural form. When you add the bound grammatical morpheme ed to a verb, we get a past tense. Now here, please remember that the past tense of the verb go, although it is said as went, in morphological study, it is identified as the morpheme go plus the morpheme ed. Now let's look at examples of bound lexical morphemes. When you add the morpheme ize as a suffix to the noun symbol, we get the word symbolize, which is a verb which means to act as a symbol of. Adding the morpheme is again to the noun hospital gives the meaning to put in a hospital for treatment. Now when we add is to the noun diesel, it gives the meaning to convert to a diesel engine power. Did you see how the morpheme is gave you different meanings? When symbolize means to act as a symbol of, hospitalize doesn't mean to act as a hospital, or dieselize does not mean to put something in diesel. Now there are other bound lexical morphemes also. Other examples is adding the suffixes ish or ish, al, able, ness. Now let's see what affixes are. We have already said that affixes are often bound morphemes. Take the word unsatisfying. Here, satisfy is the free morpheme. It can stand alone and it conveys you a meaning. Un and ing are the bound morphemes. You don't see them appearing alone as a word. It is always attached to a free morpheme. The morpheme un is added in the beginning of the free lexical morpheme and ing is added at the end of the free morpheme. So you can say that un is a prefix and ing is a suffix. Prefixes are added to the beginning of another morpheme. Suffixes are added to the end of a morpheme. Now there are other affixes also, and they are infixes and circumfixes. These two are rarely used in English. Remember that these four are the classifications of affixes based on their position, that is, where these affixes appear in a word. We have already seen examples for prefix and suffix. Now let's look at examples for infixes and circumfixes. Take the word fantastic. And this informal usage, fan-flaming-tastic, which is used to express how fantastic something is. Here the morpheme flaming is added inside another morpheme by splitting up that morpheme. Flaming here is an infix. Hence we can say that infixes are placed inside other morphemes. In other words, they split up a single morpheme. Let's look at what the Penguin Dictionary of English Grammar talks about infixes. English has no true infixes, but the plural suffix s behaves like an infix in unusual plurals like passers-by and mothers-in-law. Moving on to circumfixes. Circumfixes are attached to both the beginning and the end of a word. They are essentially made up of both a prefix and a suffix. These attachments come together. Take the word embolden. Here the prefix im and the suffix n come together with bold. Now that's an example for circumfix. Now moving on to another classification of affixes. There are two categories of affixes based on their function, that is derivational and inflectional. Derivational affixes are added to morphemes to form new words that may or may not be the same part of speech. They may be either prefixes or suffixes. The morpheme is attaches to a noun and turns it into a verb. For example, rubberize. Is also attaches to an adjective and turns it into a verb. An example is normalize. The morpheme ly, it attaches to an adjective and turns it into an adverb in grandly, proudly, etc. Morpheme li attaches to a noun and changes it into an adjective. For example, manly and friendly. These are derivational suffixes. Now coming to derivational prefixes. English also has derivational prefixes. So these prefixes will give you negative words like unhappy, dislike, atypical, anti-aircraft, etc. Now coming to inflectional affixes. Inflectional affixes are always suffixes. They do not change the grammatical meaning, and the changes that they bring about are minimal. In English, there are only 8 total inflectional affixes. Let's take a look at them. Now let's quickly revise the classifications that we have seen today. Morphemes can be lexical or grammatical. Both these classifications can be further divided into free and bound morphemes. Free lexical morphemes are nouns, adjectives, verbs, etc. and bound lexical morphemes are the affixes ish, al, nes, etc. Free grammatical morphemes are articles, conjunctions, etc. and bound grammatical morphemes are morphemes added to indicate tenses or singular or plural forms of nouns. Now, affixes can be classified based on their position and also based on their function. Based on the position, there are 4 kinds of affixes: prefix, suffix, infix, and circumfix. And based on their function, there are 2 affixes: derivational and inflectional. Now, that was a quick recap. Next week, we shall discuss a few more terms under morphology. They are root and stem morphemes, allomorphs, and morphs. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe if you like our content. See you again next week with the second part of morphology.